Good afternoon, good people, and welcome to our first lower bracket match in the SGL online version of the Final Fantasy Randomizer tournament. Today, we have fcoughlin versus Jaylow7. I'm Saracen, joined in the booth today by Red Mage. How you doing, Red Mage?
I'm doing pretty good. I got out of work early to do this, so thanks, Final Fantasy Randomizer.
I am still shaking the mouse, so, you know. Shh, don't tell anyone. So we have, I think, a match that has been a long time in the making. Both of these runners have known each other for a very long time. Both are in the credits of the randomizer, so when we get to the end of the seed, you'll see both names in those credits. But apparently they've never actually raced each other in a tournament environment before. So, yeah, kind of interesting. Fred, also known as the current world record holder for the any percent speed run. I've watched several of his manipulation runs before. It's very entertaining to watch him manage that, as it is tight tolerances.
Oh, dang, really?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
So our runners will just about be getting off to a start in probably about 20 seconds here. But just a quick rundown of the flags, if you will, Red Mage.
Flags. We got black belt, forced none, forced everything else. You get two guys, a mage and a guy who can throw swords around. Looks like we got a thief and a black mage today.
Yep, so these flags are very black belt centric.
Well, that was cool. I think also we got two random incentives in Ice Cave and Marsh Cave, so, you know, pick one and try and not go there. Nothing in any other place. You got 3 crystals to light before you can go in, and we got random fiend fights at the end, and they're the random fiends plus the random chaos ending. So we get to see craziness at the end. But we're starting. We got magic. We got some stuff. We got people going off, buying things.
Yeah, so notable on the black magic side, we have Fire 3 and Zap both at level 1. Fire 3, great sweeper early on. Zap, surprisingly useful in many parts of the game because of its time element. Nothing except chaos resists time.
It's definitely come in clutch in times when I've had to use it.
Yeah, we do have a starting AoE caster item. The Thor Hammer is our start today. But Fred, seeing the business end of Garland there, as Garland just takes out the black belt who's holding that Thor Hammer, and decides, you know, I'd rather have those levels.
Yeah, Fire 3, not cutting it.
Sleep touch on Garland as well. You know, just a little bit extra. A little sauce on top. But Fred's through. Jaylow's still making the way up. We get the slab from the king. And TNT from Sarah.
2,000 years old.
Yeah, you know, the lifespan of some dynamite is kind of impressive sometimes. So, one thing of note is that early bottle in the shop. That's super cheap. We were going to be routing back past here anyway, so no big deal. There's an extra Thor Hammer in the first chest. Hot diggity. So, we have 3 recruitable wizards in the course of the seed. They will show up next to NPC turn-ins that we have. So, that can replace the nun, that can replace the thief, or the existing mage, or if you're really, really incensed about this idea of having a black belt, you could theoretically replace them, but you know, the forced parties do those things. So we'll see what people do here. I like to run rainbow comps or double mage with the melee to soak up some hits. We see our shuffled Provoca shops and gross black magic. Ew, no.
Yeah, nothing you want in there.
So Fred taking on some pirates, Jaylow getting out of Canaria. And a ruby coming from the pirates. So that tells me the TNT or Marsh Cave going to be pretty important. The bottle in the Canaria shop is not super helpful. Tristel asking, what the heck is that weapon shop doing near Bicky? Well, it turns out we have shuffled Provoca shops on, and you know, sometimes you get to search for the inn. Jaylow making an immediate play over to Dwarf Cave. We'll see what the TNT turns into here first.
Oh, I love route divergence.
Well, I think Fred will be there very soon. Oh, that is a canoe, which could open up some real route divergence if Jaylow's feeling adventurous. We have Fire 3 and a Dream. I think we could theoretically see an Ice Cave play at very low levels, but I don't know how much Jaylow wants to do that.
That would be a good play. Like, it would definitely split things up. It's unlikely to be done by, you know, your opponent. But
now, interesting here, Jaylow opting to continue on past the dwarf and head generally towards Marsh and Elf. Maybe we see an early Marsh play, maybe we see something else. I'm very curious.
yeah, it's definitely another thing that will probably distinguish him from the his opponent here in a display of route divergence.
Well, it's rapidly converging as Fred has also picked up that canoe, but ultimately that just means Jaylow hasn't seen a ruby out of the pirates or horrible black magic.
Yeah, he'll get to see all the level 3 and 4 magic right here after he buys a saber.
Well, looking to do some attack strats. Fred heading straight to Marsh. I approve of this play. So we have random incentive location in Marsh. That means we're probably checking the attic first, and sure are.
Oh yeah, you gotta do that.
Jaylow picking up Lit 3, Ice 3, and possibly Brack in the Black Magic shop at level 3, which is fantastic.
Brack is definitely the sort of thing you like to have.
So I like Brack. I cannot for the life of me remember the weaknesses of the alternate fiends. So I just never pick it up.
So yeah, that was where I was coming, was with the alt fiends. Every time I go in, I'm like, I get to the bottom of Volcano and it's like Ifrit, and I'm like, oh wait, who? Brack, what? You know, you're like, all right, Tiamat, here we go. I'm gonna, and then no, you, Brack, it's not.
Jaylow doing the dangerous game here of did a bunch of shopping in Elfland, picked up a bunch of stuff, and has 15 gold to his name. So he needs to take an encounter before he can save.
That's not cool.
Yeah, we're going to figure it out. Fred heading to the basement. That item obviously was not in the attic. It's very sad. I love when we get an attic item because it just means that... Oh, Quad X ghouls.
Jeez. Yeah. Don't want to deal with that.
That's a table flip right there. I did see the pro rings were for sale in Elfland. I don't want to have the runners require that by any stretch.
Ghouls are one of those enemies that will pop up in places.
Yeah. You know, if it comes down to it, and I hope it doesn't again, you could theoretically sell those Thor hammers to make it up. A gold +2 bracelet coming in from the first check of the basement.
Jaylow going straight to the basement.
I can see that. I can also see that Gerwolves have frost, and that's very scary.
That makes this place really scary.
And we have found the adamant, so the return trip to dwarves is inevitable.
Oof.
Yep. This is a dungeon that exists, all right. And Jaylow's not going to see it because Fire 3 is going to just wipe these wolves out. And, that's false hope right there.
Turn order. Turn order can be your friend. It can also be not your friend.
Oh, many times I've had it not be my friend. So, Jaylow has picked up the adamant and is going to keep checking chests. There's 3 more chests on this floor, as well as a spike tile. That chest, I believe, is linked.
Oh, yeah. I never remember which ones are linked on this floor. Always confuses me.
I have sort of a... It's almost like, you remember the old codes that you had to enter for like the Mega Man games to save your progress?
Oh, yeah.
That's how I map out these rooms. So it's blank 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 dot blank blank dot blank dot blank dot.
I'm gonna have to put one of those up on top of my computer.
So there's your guide. That's how you do these. That is an eye tile in marsh. It's a very dangerous marsh. But Jaylow has 2 Thor hammers and is not afraid to use them.
No, the 2 Thor hammers were gonna make for some really good grinding if he got early. Like this.
And Jaylow did stock up on heal pots before coming down here too, so that's actually huge. We might actually see him take this grind right now. And I mean, I'm a little scared about some things. Like, we have an off-step encounter potentially. We have to get out, right? But the fact that we have the healing pots, we have the ability to get levels here. I mean, even if you just take it a couple of times to be safe later, that's probably fine. But the real problem is if we get an off-step encounter that includes those ghouls. Meanwhile, Fred turns in the adamant, gets the ship. That'll turn up at the dwarf dock here. Speed some things up along the way.
That's pretty helpful. We just need the canal, and we can go get some stuff out there.
Yep, so now we are currently looking at needing to do Crescent Lake and Ice for incentive items at this point. Man, that poor black belt on Fred's side.
Yeah, you don't see the black belt not getting the ambient levels.
So TNT has been checked. That is the canoe. So we do have access around the Circle C. We just don't have our way out. Alright, we are rapidly approaching this point on Jaylow's screen where he could start punching. 21, the obvious breakpoint. This eye does not have much hit points. He needs to take that iron stick off right about now. He's thinking it.
He's doing the calculations. And there it is.
Yeah, I would probably start just punching with the black belt and put that Thor hammer on the black mage if you're going to keep it upright. But I think that black mage and that thief need to go down ASAP.
Yeah, the faster you get this grind done and the black belt online, the better off you're going to be.
We get the chime from the sage. That means that we are going to ice for that canal or the floater. One of the two.
Ooh, yeah.
How schooled is Jaylow in the ways of the BB grind? I would say He is reasonably familiar with things. I tend to play a lot more with Jaylow in the archipelago side of things rather than in the racing environment, but he understands. He knows what he's got to do. He's tracked more races than I can count. So. And I don't mind just getting a few team levels and going if that's the play where you feel comfortable, because just having those extra levels means magic charges for your black mage. It's a little bit of safety in encounters on the way out. Just that much easier to do things in the early game.
Plus a little bit of that extra gold.
Yes, the gold is actually a huge deal as well.
Taking a step before saving.
Live dangerously sometimes.
Sometimes.
So things that I did note, from the I'm also in this tournament perspective, it's a fairly long walk off the hard reset. I mean, relative to wanting to do an overworld grind. So that eye tile location is kind of a pain, but also, Jaylow knows about it and Fred doesn't. So I think Jaylow just realizing, oh yeah, I got the adamant. So I walked in the wrong direction. That happens. That happens.
Absolutely.
Fred has arrived at an ice cave.
Here we go. What do we have in here?
Some rather dangerous frosties.
Well, there be dragons.
Indeed. We're taking a loop. Whoops. So thief lockpicking not turned on in this flag set. Unfortunate. I wonder if that was a thing that Jaylow thought was going to be happening here, and that's why the party grind was going on, right?
Maybe.
So that ship should be at the dwarf dock, and there's Jaylow heading towards it. Now Fred checking the first boxes of ice. So this one is the most annoying to get to if you don't have warp. The second most annoying, this one. It's so easy to slip on a banana peel in the process, and yeah.
Yeah, something about a cross pad just always messes you up.
I believe that Fred plays with a controller. I don't know if Jaylow does. I think Fred is on an actual Nintendo.
That's what it looks like. I'm seeing like scan lines every once in a while.
Yeah.
Which I don't even know how you load a randomizer ROM into a Nintendo.
I'm sure there's basically just there's a crown coming from ice.
Did Jaylow pick up that bottle?
May have. I missed it.
I just caught him coming out of Corneria.
We see Dazzle on gargoyles. Was there also like a trance or something? Because I saw two characters in paralysis. Maybe Jaylow. Oh, Jaylow hasn't been to Provoca yet, so Jaylow's looking for things.
Ah, yeah. Like where the heck everything is in Provoca.
Yep. And is going to be disappointed by the terrible level 2 black magic.
Yeah, you can hear him doing the double take.
Yeah.
Coughlin taking this great Pede fight.
Definitely a misnomer in many regards, as they are the inferior Pede, at least from the player perspective.
How is that possible?
It's just, value of resources and time. All right, Jaylow having the ruby fun flag turned on so that it is a fish.
I'm gonna eat this fish.
I think Jaylow missed that the inn is hiding behind Vicky. This happens. And Fred is out of ice. So we're going to turn in that crown and figure out what's up.
Come on, crown.
So, still outstanding. We have an herb, we have a crystal, we have a canal, and a floater for the inner sea. So we shall see where this heads up.
Oh god, it could be something disgusting.
So Tristal MTG asking, why not just go kill Carrie first? I think that there's the way these flags are set up, it's really black belt focused, right? So you have scaling on the boss HP that goes up to 230%. Really, it's a big part of this is find your grind and go. And the floater can't be in Volcano, so I would leave all the Fiend dungeons to the end. That's been my pattern the whole time, at least. Volcano is not an incentivized dungeon in this flag set, so...
Yeah, that plus you're not going to find Carrie in there. You're going to find some random fiend who you don't know who it is.
And we're getting a crystal from Astos.
It's that thing you said with the
Indeed.
fetch quest. Oh, I think we got a red wizard hanging out over there too. If you want to grab him, drag him around.
Yeah, I don't know if Fred has been checking the white magic shops. So we'll see if he opts to take that red wizard. He does. He replaces the thief.
The thief.
No, this is actually a really smart move in a lot of ways. So the thief had levels, and those levels are going to be held by the red wizard now, which means you have spell charges.
Oh,
the thief is super hard to kill when you're trying to get a grind going. So having something with less evasion is way better in that regard. I like the play. If you were planning on getting rid of the thief and finding a grind, this is an excellent way to do it. Now, downside, like Phoenix is pointing out, you can't run as easily. You're not going to have as many first strikes in combat or avoid as many of the ambushes. But, you know, the counterbalance here is where do we accelerate our gameplay? Where do we put the brakes on? It is a bold play. I tend to replace the nun first and just assume I'm going to get levels, but we are also 20 minutes in on this seed, and that can feel like an eternity.
it really can. When you haven't seen a floater and you haven't gotten out of the inner sea yet,
Yeah.
20 minutes can really feel like you missed something. Or it could just be the seed. Sometimes it's a long time before you see the rest of the game.
Yeah, so Fred following up on that crystal, which the Matoya gave us the herb. Hey, more fetch. Hooray, fetch quests.
It's all about the fetch quest.
Jaylow making the ice play as well has recognized that the ice is the only way. Also note at this point that now, while we have a nun in there, the characters that are going to fall over and sweep the floor with their faces are now both named Dan on Fred's side. So I appreciate that. I see where you're coming from.
And we get the herb turning into
The canal.
now.
So our plays here are Chase the Ruby, which is going to give us 2 incentives, or Chase Ordeals, which will give us 1. We have 2 effectively dead items in the pool. We have the Power Gauntlet, which is a random spell for the power-up. So it could be fast, could be temper, could be saber. and a ribbon. Those are the bad results. And then there's the floater. So I think you chase the 2/3, right?
I mean, I think you always go with what's going to give you your best bang for your buck. So
Yeah. And then the follow-on to that is we have both the slab and the bottle, so we can push on that once we get that floater.
yeah.
Red learnable life. Very nice. Wall also kind of helpful.
I think there was Life 2 was early too, wasn't it?
It may have been.
I don't know if anyone checked it.
It was Provoca White.
Yeah. I don't think any of the runners checked White in Provoca.
As we have some tools on the back end, we're able to see that whether or not the runners have.
Yeah, sorry to throw that in everyone else's face.
Wow.
But it looks like we'll be seeing all the white magic from here on out when they come across it. Although I don't know how much more magic there is around. Oh, there's a black wizard.
I think the main notable thing we haven't seen from the white magic side is Cure 4. And that is a very helpful spell sometimes. If I have to choose between Cure 4 and Heal 3, I'm going to choose Heal 3 every day of the week. But, Tristal asking why not swap in the Black Wizard for the Black Mage? Because you lose all of your spells known and you have to go buy them again, I think is the main reason. There is our Temper Bonk.
Always nice to have a Temper Bonk.
Yeah, it's nice, but now, you're just kind of waiting on when that floater shows up, and oh god, am I gonna end up just getting the ribbon from Sarda and be led around the nose to ordeals?
Oh, that'd be rough. But I mean, there's other things in the pool too, right? You could get the cube, the Oxyale.
Right, theoretically.
It could happen.
Yeah. Useless Katana +2. That was, it's very sad. We'll never be able to wield that.
No. Yeah.
There's our White Wizard. We get the key. Oh, I forgot all about the key. All right, so the key is a super annoying incentive item to see right now. Because you have to make a decision. Am I going to see this key through the inner sea by sailing all the way back in? And then if it turns out to not be my floater, I have to sail all the way back out and then down to ordeals. Or do I try to, sail down towards ordeals, leave a save right at the river dock there, and then go down to Canaria, dock at Matoya, and walk to... It's bad either way.
I think you'll see them go to the inner sea, if nothing more than to also check the trap tiles in Northwest.
That's a fair point. Fred does head directly into Canaria Castle.
I don't think he's seen anything good in the grind world, so that's a juicy place to check.
And there is the floater.
And while you're up here, you could check the trap tiles up in Ordeals as well.
You get the Toph one at least. Yeah, the Ordeals one.
Oh yeah, Ordeals. I'm sorry.
I think Ordeals is the last place I want to go now because we have a floater, and why go there? All right, Fred has the floater in hand. Is choosing to sail the outside version of this. I like the inner sea river dock option for that position, but you choose what you choose, right? Jaylow out of the ice cave.
Wielding a Zeus gauntlet instead of the Thor hammer. I guess for fun. Is there They're pretty much the same thing, right?
Same spell, yeah. The Zeus Gauntlet is strictly worse because it's an armor slot, so you have the extra menu position, but it's also an armor slot, so it's competing with all the other armors.
It's a good point, because you do want your armor to be armor.
Jaylow making a volcano play. We get the ribbon from the fairy. All right, we have our zonks out of the way. Get out of here.
Time to get going.
So Fred making the calculated gamble of, I want to stay alive from spells more than I want to stay alive from T-Rexes. So there's a ribbon on the black belt now.
And then promptly lands in T-Rex land.
Yeah, well, you know, there's other things to fear than the T-Rex bite. We have seen the Gerwolves do things. They're not around here, but, you know, everything has the possibility of being obnoxious.
Oh yeah, we haven't seen damage poison on a random thing yet.
Or stone poison. There is our loot coming out of the Lefanish Man.
There we go. We also can go get some spells at the Super Duper store.
Now, what's really funny here, so we have Waterfall, Ordeals, and Cardia still on the table for incentive checks on Fred's side. Each of those guarantees to open up a dungeon.
Oh man! Oh yeah, we don't have a bunch of stuff for dungeons.
And the real jerk move of the seed could be, oh, by the way, level 6 nuke, if you didn't see it already, as well as temper. The real jerk move of this seed could be that Ordeals holds the Oxyale. Because then you can go to Onrak Continent just for Waterfall, or you can go Ordeals first to go to Waterfall and Sea Shrine. You know, you have to make a decision then. So we'll see just how mean the seed wants to be. We are seeing some steak and wings on Fred's side.
Phoenix looting out the volcano here.
Yeah. I don't think it's super necessary, but you know, you choose what you choose. I'm not the runner right now. Phoenix joking about the overworld grind. We had a match against each. There's a T-Rex. Wow. Phoenix and I had a match. I used an overworld grind. He used a very dangerous Sharknado grind. It did not work out so well for him, and you know, very unfortunate. But that is a gambit, and I respect a gambit when I see one. This T-Rex a little thick, you know. Doing what we can here, but it's going to be good experience.
Guy asking in chat about the tail being in Ordeals. The tail is actually not in this seed at all.
Yep, the tail is turned off. Fred
another katana.
Just handing them out. Fred gets the cube out of Cardia. We are approaching the possibility. All right. So Fred has access to Sky. Fred has access to Volcano. He needs one additional dungeon over and above that. So the Waterfall will provide.
It will provide something.
It will provide something. You know, you just have to make your decision.
So this is what you mean. There's the problem where you come to Waterfall, end up getting the rod and have to leave, versus what you would want it to have the Oxia.
Right. So, you know, that's a thing. Oh, this T-Rex is off the hard reset? Hot diggity dang! I love it.
Very clever.
So, It had looked to me at the time like there were quite a few steps. It seems short enough that this T-Rex could do the thing. Now, we do have to get it off the ground. The slow on the T-Rex, just, icing on the cake right there. But we are down one wizard or one mage, so that's good news. Oh yeah, this is not so long that it's terrible. This is actually fine. We just need to actually get to the point where the black belt can do the thing by himself. The ribbon actually paying dividends here for that black belt, as the slow just will not hit. But,
Yeah, T-Rex is T-Rex for a reason.
Yeah. Hey, that's what you save for, right?
Yeah, every time. But yeah, you got to get this one off the ground. You got to get it going.
All right, Jaylow approaching our first alt fiend here. Black Mage face down. That's a little spooky.
That is spooky.
But Jaylow does have some resources that Fred just doesn't have, and
He's got Thor hammer for days.
We have a ruse stick. Ruse stick can be very helpful. That is a sleep touch Leviathan. That
you
is
never
a
see it coming.
thief.
So now it's ruse up and punch.
All right, so I'm gonna throw this possibility out into the universe because we know that Jaylow has seen the eye. At this point, it is possible that Jaylow takes down this Leviathan. It will be a bit slow, but we're at evade cap. We appear to have a ribbon on based on several of the resists that we've seen.
Has he picked up that temper gauntlet yet?
No, I don't believe so. That was in Titan's Tunnel, and he has not yet followed through on the turn-in for the canal.
All right.
So, this is just the battle of attrition. 43 damage at a time isn't super bad, but this Leviathan, you start at carries 600 base health, and you go, 180 to 230 is the scaling on boss health? I think those are the right numbers. 120 to 230. Okay, so you're looking at 700 some to 1300. 43 damage at a time, who knows? But we haven't seen anything particularly threatening out of this Leviathan, except the possibility of critical hits.
I think it cast fire too once. And now it's dead.
It is dead, but all right, hear me out. Now Jaylow only has the black belt. And so if he doesn't res them, the rest of the party, he just go do the grind. And now I don't like the idea of walking down a marsh and not having an exit plan, really. But it's there. It's an option in front of him. This blue stake grind, however, to the moon.
Oh, I missed it. I was paying attention to the other. Ooh.
Just in case you were not aware, the T-Rex is still a threat even when you are hitting it for 561 on the first attack.
Dang.
Once 32 lands, it will be completely fine. But we're seeing 20k a fight. That is over double what we would see out of an eye with a similar loadout on items. So taking the T-Rex is really the right answer. Now, downside, T-Rexes, they don't have pockets, and even if they did, they couldn't reach them. So there's not a whole lot of gold that they hold for you. Jaylow is choosing to revive the party. Just tuck away that orb that he's lit. You know, Multiflorum, you say that, but we still need to afford housing at some point, and that's an actual concern. Well, no, Fred's got 25 cabins. It's fine. It's fine. But when you have an overworld grind, that's a legitimate concern. Do I finish this grind before I run out of houses?
Well, that's why you start using cabins, tents, whatever you can sleep under.
Exactly. But, you know, once we have eclipsed 32, we're pretty consistently just one-rounding these T-Rexes. They don't get a lot of actions. They're casting slow a lot of the time, which is not doing a whole heck of a lot. And Fred's already to 41.
Oh my gosh.
The T-Rex grind is super fast.
Yeah, and it'll be all the difference when you see him, if he goes for carry, which he probably will. Or do Volcano, because he'll just like walk right through, just smack that thing down and leave.
So one thing I just want to toss out there, did you see that Fred skipped right over level 42? Went from 41 to 43 because of how much experience that T-Rex is worth?
What the crap? Really?
Yeah. XP scaling is very good, it turns out. So
that means that had to have happened like several times on the way when I wasn't paying attention.
Very likely. It on average, it's like 2 to 3 fights on an eye, which is giving, again, at roughly comparable incentive item levels, because we're getting 10% experience per item. You're looking at about 9k versus the 20k of the T-Rex. So, you know, you think about it as 2 to 3, there's going to be the possibility.
Wow.
Yep. Yes, the cube came out of Cardia Islands. Fred does have that. So. Alright, now, do we see the heel turn from this waterfall? Does it give us the rod?
I can hear you rooting for it.
I mean, I have to, right?
I mean, it's always fun to see things go as squirrely as they can for the runners, because you're just watching it and talking about it, and so you're left just going, what's the absolute worst thing that could happen to these people? And then hoping it does.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not that I'm rooting for the game, right? I'm rooting for the runners, but I like seeing more game.
Yeah,
it is the Oxyale. Okay,
oh, it's what you want.
It's the one-stop shop. It's like Lazy Dwarves. It's lazy Onrak.
Lazy waterfall, lazy robots.
Yeah, you know, it's super helpful.
It's Oxyale. It's what plants crave.
My favorite documentary.
Oh, too soon.
All right, Fred, burn some encounters before coming into Onrak.
Thinking about checking the inn?
It's the worst inn in the game. Like, every other place has an objectively better inn location. Now,
and probably cheaper, too.
Usually, yeah. So, we are unfortunately not going to be going to the Mermaid floor as a founding member of Bubble Soda Company. That is sadness to me. However, it is completely forgivable and understandable for our runners today. There's just not a lot of reason to go there.
Yeah, nobody's got any reason to be down there. That basement. Basement? Or is that upstairs? Why pay attention to these things?
I mean, I just think of it as left and right a lot of the time. It appears that we are going upstairs on the left. I had never thought about that. Like, I'm literally just looking at the stair tiles right now. Jaylow getting the herb, so we're getting one step closer to that canal.
Oh, that's right, that fetch quest went on forever.
Sure did. And here comes a replacement Kraken floor.
Oh yeah, we get to see what this is.
The sea snakes have mute touch, always unfun to see if you were ever thinking about fighting those. Gershark Big Eye, a fight that I almost never skip out on, even if I finish my grind, just because it's good for the mages. But I also understand that, you know, Fred has 43 levels of black belt behind him and is totally fine just moving on with it to this life.
Yeah, absolutely. The spellcasters have all the spells they need. He'll be fine.
Oh, Cheesinator coming in with the full outlay here. You kind of zigzag on the left, going up and down. It's very interesting.
It is. You know, it is weird.
And Scarmelio is our first fiend seen here in the Sea Shrine. As we saw Leviathan in the volcano, which is kind of strange, you know. Water in a hot place. Now we have... Scarmelio is Earth-related, I think?
I think so. He looks like the Earth guy from FF4.
That is a game that I actually have never finished, so...
Oh!
I know.
There's your fast for 10 hits.
Yeah, that is the one thing that the fast cast comes in for, is it's better than lock 100% of the time.
More hits means more death.
Yee.
I think Final Fantasy IV was one of those games that I played back in like the 90s. Cheesinator says it's not that long.
So, yeah, I don't know. It was one of those things. So it's like the first Final Fantasy with named characters that matter, right?
Right.
I just didn't enjoy the characters. I don't know. Maybe it was that I played FF6 and 7 and 8 before I touched 4. But I'm also a weirdo who really liked FF2. And I know that I'm in the minority for liking that game.
2 was one I never picked up because it wasn't released in the US, and then when it was, I was like, meh.
Well, if you happened to have a ROM of it in the original, Famicom release, it had very, very exploitable mechanics, and that, that made all the difference. That made it very fun because you'd get your punch cannon online way faster than you can in FF1 because it is, you can do 11 fights total and suddenly you're punching to the moon and you just walk to Mysidia.
Nice.
So I'm seeing some FF8 hate here. And while I understand, I understand, truly I do, there is something to be said about the nature of the story and, addressing the horrors of war through the eyes of child soldiers that really set it apart in tone and depth. However, you're the most handsome guy here, pixel face blob, take that for what you will.
Right,
also,
we're about to see Behemoth go down.
Yeah, sure do.
14 hits, goodbye.
All right, so Fred, up to 2 orbs completed. There we're going to see a very fast volcano, and off and away we go to Chaos's replacement. Chaos off on a vacation. We shall see who has come in his stead to cover his shift.
There is that Whack-A-Garland that has a Chaos inside.
Whack-A-Garland is definitely a thing. There are several different options. We could see some Fun Dead, which is decidedly less fun than many options. We could see the Snake Pit, where we get we would have 2 behemoths, and then a bunch of, Gersnecks and Asps or something like that. Just, some snakes, but they would all have the same sprite, so it's kind of like Whack-A-Garland, but there's 2 bosses there.
Ugh.
All sorts of different options in the alternate final boss.
There's a Warmech and Friends as well.
Warmech and Friends is a popular one to hate, yes.
Either way, it's not going to be just Chaos hanging out in his office by himself.
We got Dragonfire coming in here with the hot takes on the series. Now, all right, 10 as the PS2 tech demo. I'm willing to accept that. I'm willing to accept that there's some bad writing periodically throughout the game, but really, it was the introduction of this is just a playable movie, and that's the downside of it. Now, the upside is I had a lot of fun with the character. Skill progression stuff, like all of that was a lot of fun. I liked the sphere grid. Hey, look, there's a Leviathan. It took 3,000 damage.
Wow. 3,000 damage. That's ridiculous. I didn't know this game knew numbers that went that high.
Jaylow being reminded by the White Wizard that you cannot retake the Sarda recruit until the vampire is down. Doesn't matter if early Sarda's turned on.
Oh, what?
It's okay.
That is a swift kick in the pants.
Sure is. Multiflorum saying, gonna go out on a limb, say Fred has a comfortable lead. There's a grind and 3 orbs completed. We're in Topher on Fred's side. I would say yes. Jaylow thought about heading down to Earth and was like, wait a minute, I don't have a rod. Echidna is the Fiend of Earth this seed, by the way. We find that out through our Fiend refight tiles. You only have to do 2 of the refights.
That's always nice, because the Fiend refights, like the alt Fiend refights, are even more confusing than the alt Fiend fights.
Can be.
Oh, for me, it's like, I'm always caught off guard. I'm like, okay, no, it's gone. And then it's not there. And I'm like, man, I donked that up again. Oh, here we go.
All right, so we have the Sahagan Wagon as we get the double Scarmelio plus a bunch of Sahagan. This is this is a fight right here. So the Scarmelios could theoretically just, punch things down. They're choosing not to, very kindly. We have a nuke, we have a punch cannon, and I guess, was that Invis 2? Okay, that's very reasonable play. Jaylow looks to be heading to Ordeals, meanwhile. We'll find that rod that we've had outstanding. Goodbye, Black Mage. Hello, Temper Bonk onto Terminated.
I was going to say, I don't think they need that.
Farewell to the Scarmelio, and GG's to Fred, who is taking the win here. We'll be moving on in the brackets. So we are in the lower brackets here. Fred will be moving on to face Luffy DV in the next lower bracket match. And with that, Jaylow is going to be headed out of the tournament. This is a double elimination, and we're in the lower bracket right now. We'll see if... Oh, there's That's probably a Fred, isn't it? It's a muted Fred.
Can't talk if you're muted.
I blame Discord. I've got
That-
hotkeys set up that are not pretty, so...
That's fair.
Hey, I blame Discord for all sorts of things, so I'm right there with you.
Exactly.
GG.
Oh, thank you. Whew. That was a seed. Way too much running around early going.
It was a lot of walking.
Yeah. If you watch it back, you'll hear me talk about the rude possibilities of Waterfall not having the Oxyale, and that Oxyale hiding in ordeals just to spite you one last time.
Well,
But it decided to be kind.
I think if it had the Oxyale, it would have had the rod, and I was like, okay, I'll walk down Earth if I need to. I don't care which one of those two I do. I just need something.
Yep. It's just, you hate going
It's
to
much
Onrak
easier.
to not do C, right?
Yeah, well, maybe I would have still overlooked at Cope or something, and then said, okay, I'm going to run or something, but... There it is. There's that rod.
There is that rod. So, how'd you feel when you hit the T-Rex grind?
At first I was kind of shocked because I wasn't sure at first where I was on the thing because of the fact that I most of the time when the seed was hitting reset on the soft reset on my console instead of hitting the hard reset. And then I realized, oh yeah, wait, I did actually hard reset that. Okay, that's good. Let's just hope I can survive enough of these to get the black belt online, which is always a little bit tricky there, but fortunately got just enough along there, and even with a couple of deaths in there, it worked out.
Yeah, those steak have hands, even, when you're in the mid-30s. They'll crit you from time to time in a very vicious fashion. With this, Jaylow has opted to forfeit and has indicated he's got some real-life stuff going on, so will not be joining for the interview, but GG's to you as well, Jaylow.
Yeah, definitely a great race to Jaylow. This is actually somehow Jaylow and I have known each other since the start of Zelda 1 Randomizer, and that's at this point that was 2015, so that's over 8 years ago now, and we have somehow never been paired in any tourneys. We've been in Z1Rs, we've been in a couple of other things, I think here or there, and we have just never been paired with each other until now. So it was great to finally get to play Jaylow.
Yeah, and I said at the beginning of the stream, this is a matchup between two people that are in the credits for FFR. So that says something too, that this long and nothing.
Yeah, it's just amazing how the timing always worked out. So, but Jaylow's always good at this stuff. Always a great person to play against. Has helped out a ton behind the scenes in terms of playtesting and other things. So is awesome. Awesome member of the community. Great person to play against. Overall, just a great person. So it was definitely a ton of fun to get to play today.
Heck yeah!
It was fun to enjoy watching.
So hopefully it was entertaining. Apologize if any of my stream decided to chop up a bit there. Sometimes my internet can be a little finicky, and FF1 calculations on my computer aren't helping that right now.
Looking to pare down that any percent time?
This is just trying to see if I can get something together to put into like a marathon submission. I just want to see if I can get a easier kill of Chaos than what I currently have. If I'm not doing Bane Sword, because, if you're in a marathon, Bane Sword, oh, look, you're dead, is not exactly a look that most marathons will say, yeah, bring that in. Because when you screw it up, it's either Chaos dies, or I die. So no matter how good you get at it, when you're aiming for a 2-frame window, 1/30th of a second is a bit of a risk to go for, so...
Especially with crowd noise in the background.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
Because you gotta listen, like, I go off the baseline in that Chaos fight, and if you just miss that one baseline at all, you can go from, oh yeah, you do Bane and kill Chaos, because there's only, like, there's a couple of random frames, there's 3 out of the 256, and if you miss it, Chaos might hit you with an ice spell, Chaos might punch you for 300 damage. Yeah, can't really recover off those.
I've always been impressed watching your practice runs, even if it's very hard for me to watch the putt-putt boat and the slow walk.
Oh gosh, thank you. Yeah, it is. It's jarring going back to it, going back and forth. So, hopefully won't be too bad of an adjustment here when I start switching back to that soon.
Well, with your win today, you're going up against Luffy DV in the next round. How do you feel about that matchup?
I mean, Luffy, as far as I know, is incredibly good at this game. Again, I haven't been part of this community too much, so I apologize for my ignorance on some of these things. But Luffy is definitely a name I'm recognizing, so it's gonna be a battle. We're gonna have to see how it goes with it. I'm just gonna go in, do my best. Honestly, at this point, anything I get at this point, I think it's just bonus FFR, which is never a bad thing.
True.
I'm with you on that. Red Mage, do you have any other questions for Fred?
No, I don't think so. We hit everything. Unless you wanted to tell him that the eye was in Marsh, but
yeah, the spike tile at the normal incentive chest. That was the.
Of course
eye.
it was.
Yeah.
Of course it was. Well, getting burned by those werewolves and werewolves and XXX'd by the ghouls, I think, or something like that. I'm like, yeah, totally. I want to sit here and sit on a grind tile for a while. Yeah, let's go for that. I was like, no, we're getting out of here right now. I'll think about it later if I really need to, but no, I'm done.
Yep. And I think Jaylow had stumbled across some protections against some of that. I know there was a second Thor hammer in the first chest of Toph, and a
nice.
couple of resources from extra chests that were checked, but it was a little touch and go when you're sitting at level 16 and you could still be taken out by damage.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Any of those fights can be terribly scary, and there wasn't an easy way to exit out, I think, until, well, I don't remember where the wizard started showing up or where the red wizard was, but until red wizard showed up, there was no way to even exit out, so anything you finished, you still had to walk out, and those floors were terrifying. I don't know if I ever would have even considered walking back in. That was that traumatic.
Right? I believe the red wizard was Astos.
Oh, okay.
So post ice.
Yeah, and I think I know it was adamant in Marsh. Did that get to the canoe? I'm trying to remember if that was where that one.
Yes.
TNT was to canoe, and the adamant was the ship.
Okay, yeah. So technically, I didn't need to do the Marsh when I did, but yeah. They both were required early. That was a painful seed. Oh my gosh, now that I think back on this, this is terrible.
Yeah, it was a touch and go seed. I think you're recognizing the T-Rex off the hard reset, and honestly, I thought the initial walk was longer than it turned out to be. So, I didn't think it was going to be as reasonable a grind, but then you showed me.
Well, just all those opening tiles, there's so many blank tiles that you naturally hit anyway when you're walking up there that they put in just to try to reduce the encounter rate artificially near Corneria. So it's great for the vanilla run because it means that you can get your second fight inside Topher instead of outside and get one enemy instead of, 5 of them or something.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I manipulate that at all.
I always test the encounters in the forest around Canaria. I walk the extra encounter tiles, even though I know I could take free spaces, just because it helps me gauge if I can do something silly with the hard resets. But yeah,
that's a smart thing. Yeah, I tend to just do a couple of things here and there in the, just like, okay, at some point when I remember, I'll just pick a point and start walking, especially if I've got a long walk to try to see if I can figure out the musical cues on where they're going to be. And as I said, these ones just had those first two really early. So I said, okay, we're going to keep that in mind and probably burn them anytime I want to go into a dungeon. Because after that, the next two were pretty long walks each. So it's like I can get pretty deep in a dungeon if that cooperates.
Yeah, and I certainly saw that come up as you were going through. I don't play with the music, so I try to gauge off of time or steps as I see them, and I play this game by sense of smell, which is really odd to say given that I also run our new player program.
Hey, whatever works for you. I mean, sometimes it's just that instinct, having that killer instinct. It can be, what takes you through, gets you to the, gets you to that end in the game. In the end, so I give you total credit for that because you've clearly shown you are pretty dang good at this one too.
Thank you. I do what I
have
can.
heard it said, Saracen, that you know what you're doing.
Yeah, I will never beat the people who do the deep analysis, though, and I get that. I think maybe we should head over to Final Thoughts and let Speed Gaming have their channel back after that. So, Fred, final thoughts on this race?
That was a great one. As I said, it was absolutely great to play a good friend like Jaylow there. So again, great race to Jaylow. Sorry he wasn't able to finish this one out, as I said, because of the real life there. But always great to play him. Hoping to get to play him again some point soon. Thank you to the two of you for putting commentary together, as well as for the tracking team and for Speed Gaming running things, as well as your whole FF1R team who's running this whole tournament. It's a ton of fun, and I'm looking forward to trying to limp through the next round. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Good luck, sir.
Red Mage, what you got on our way out of here?
Well, just throw out a nice thank you to Odron, our tracker, for keeping us honest and keeping things up there so that we can just at a glance know what was where and who's got what and what's going on.
All right. Well, this has been another race in the Speed Gaming Live online tournament for Final Fantasy Randomizer. If you like what you saw, you can certainly join us in the community. Head over to finalfantasyrandomizer.com. There's a link to join the Discord available on that page, as well as the randomizer itself. Over 500 options, making it one of the most robust randomizers out there. And our community is very friendly because this game sometimes is not, as you may have seen at some points during the run today. I want to say thank you to Red Mage for joining me for commentary in the booth here, and Odron again for the tracking, very helpful, and to both of our runners, fcoughlin and Jaylow7. I think they put on a heck of a show. If you haven't followed them yet, by all means, give them a follow. With that, I'm Saracen. I want to also say thank you to Speed Gaming for hosting us and putting on this tournament. Very good time. But with that, have a lovely evening, everybody.